everybody, and welcome to the planning board meeting of April 5th, 2023. First thing on the agenda is roll call. Angela, if you could help me out with that.
Rick Madruga.
Here.
James Farias.
Here.
Lori Anthony.
Here.
Rebecca Higgins.
Here.
Diane Gray.
Here.
Stacy Walker.
Here. With that, we have 6. We are still missing a member, so if anybody would like to join us, that would be fine, but we do have enough for a quorum, so we will continue the meeting. We do not have any minutes of meetings prepared, correct, Angela? The next thing on the agenda is public hearing. The first thing up is the Heritage House Coppersmith LLC, located on 545 Main Street in Waterboro. Aaron, you're here to present this. Do you want to give, I'm going to open it to public hearing, and if you will give a brief description of what you are doing, that I'd appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Hunter, civil engineer with Sebago Technics, here on behalf of the applicant Heritage Company, Coppersmith LLC. We were last before you in February, earlier this year, for acceptance of the application. Since then, we've had a site walk in March. We staked out the building corners and everyone got to take a look at how that would look on the site. We have addressed the minor staff comments that were remaining, and provided that as a part of our resubmittal for final approval tonight that we're hoping to get. I see there's a couple of new faces in the crowd, so I'll give just a quick overview for everyone. So the site's located at 545 Main Street. There is an existing office building and daycare building with an access drive and associated parking. One of the occupants of this building here is a roofing and coppersmithing business, and right now they have a lot of their stored materials out in this area and over in this area. So as a part of this project, they'll be constructing a storage building, and that's where a lot of that material will all go into that building, and then there'll be some additional room for other uses associated with the building. So that'll be the first phase of the project, really. They'll be widening this access road to 20 feet, also widening this road over here to 20 feet, and then providing a drive around the building for access, as there's going to be an overhead door on the front and the rear of the building. And then as phase 2 of the project is how they're envisioning it, is they're going to be constructing an office building here with potential for 3 tenants within that, 3 office spaces with 2 meeting rooms for use. So as a part of that, they'll be constructing this additional parking area over here. So we'll be modifying the existing parking area and creating a roadway around there or driveway around there to allow safe access by the fire department for any needs. We'll be constructing 2 wells for water service to service this building and this building, and then they'll each have their own individual septic system they'll be connected to. We'll be extending overhead utility from the existing pole that's on site to service both of the buildings. In regards to stormwater, we did file a permit by rule application with the Maine DEP, as we're disturbing over an acre of area as a part of the project. As a part of that permit, we're installing erosion and sediment control measures to meet the basic standards that they require. We did perform a drainage evaluation to make sure that we're not increasing runoff as a result of the project. So we are either equal or below the existing rate of runoff for the project. Since the since the last meeting that we presented to you, we did make some changes to the plan just to address staff comments. One of the comments was to add a van accessible ADA space, so we added that here to the left of the entrance. That was just a matter of striping that appropriately and adding the signage for that. And then also on the storage building here, we did add 2 additional points of egress. So we added two man doors to the side of each of the overhead doors. That's to allow appropriate access for fire and for people to have the amount of distance needed to access and egress within the building. So we feel that we've addressed all of the comments, and we're hoping for final approval tonight, and we appreciate everyone's time in the process, everyone's help. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
At this stage, it's a public hearing. We get to speak after. Okay. Now that Erin has very well done described the development, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this project tonight? Is there anybody online? Zoom, whatever?
No requests.
No emails?
Yep, I do have 2 here. One of them was dated March 15th, 2023. Dear Office of Code Enforcement, I would like to know if there is a right-of-way to cross road via Route 202/Main Street in the town of Waterboro, Maine. If there is a right-of-way to this road, could you please review where it is located and is it accessible at this time? I have another one dated March 20th, 2023. Angela Shute, pursuant to our telephone conversation today, I am looking for the Heritage Company to define the location of a 2-rod right-of-way from Route 202 through the Heritage Company property to my abutting property. Page 4 of the site plan does not delineate the location of the right-of-way continuing from the identified end of Cross Road on the left side of Building 1 to Route 202 and 4. This right-of-way needs to be 2 rods in width per the deed. The location of this right-of-way has moved several times, and I asked that the location be identified and made part of this site plan. Per the memorandum of agreement, the rights acknowledge the rights of the Kimballs, the predecessor to my property, their heirs, and assigns to the unimpeded use of the 2-rod discontinued road known as Cross Road as it crosses their property for purposes of ingress and egress and the installation of utilities and services from Route 202 and 4 to land of said Kimballs, Book 6909, page 333. Thank you, Luke Gillette.
I can address that. So we have had conversations with the abutter, Mr. Garrett, and also involved the town in those conversations. So we are, right now, the property owner is back out here behind the field. So they do have access to the property currently from Main Street through here, and then there is an existing gravel path that goes along here, and then it turns into a less defined path and goes out back here through the property. So as a part of the project, we are constructing this paved access drive here, and then we're connecting into that gravel drive to allow access through the property. In regards to defining a right-of-way for that, there has not been, to my knowledge, a right-of-way that was ever defined. There was a memorandum of agreement that was a part of the deed of the property with that property owner out back. So we are allowing that access to the property and maintaining what was there, either equal to or greater than for the purposes of what they would need to access it for. There was discussions between the applicant or the property owner and the abutter to talk about this really after he was okay with talking about it more about defining that after the approval, where that's really kind of separate from this project. So, and then if there was anything that they did decide to do that involved any sort of things, that would be something that they would do after this approval. He indicated that he was comfortable with that. I don't know if you guys have any questions about that. I can try to add anything else.
Are both those emails from the same person, is it?
Did they offer any evidence as to what they're
They
saying
reference the book
for the
and
right-of-way? Because I've heard right-of-way, I've heard memorandum of agreement. Is there any way we can find out exactly what this is?
So their book and page of the deed, and he quotes the deed of ingress, unimpeded use of the two-rod discontinued road known as Cross Road as it crosses their property for purposes of ingress and egress and the installation of utilities and services from Route 202 and 4 to land of said Kimball's. They do provide the book and page of their deed. We've dealt with several other projects on this same road that quote that same ingress, egress
Yes.
across.
Okay, it is documented then. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? I hear none, and there's no more in writing, so I will close. Angela, if you took the note the time, the public hearing for this project at this time. We have, you can sit, I got a couple things before we get back to you, Aaron. Thank you. We do have another public hearing, and this is on the Waterboro zoning ordinance definitions and amendments. If you would like to give the public a brief, I'll open the public hearing for this now, and Michael, if you would first give a brief description of what had gone on and what you're proposing.
What we're attempting to accomplish here is to add a short paragraph in section 2.03 of the Waterboro zoning ordinance. The paragraph reads, prior to construction or installation of any building or structure, the property owner or contractor shall provide the code enforcement officer a certification from a land surveyor demonstrating the placement of the foundation that meets the required setbacks. For the purposes of this provision, a foundation shall be defined as any base material that provides frost protection for habitable space located above it. This change was kind of brought on because it became a policy a few years back where we had run into multiple setback errors. This is a simple check to get pending homes, to make sure that prior to construction, pending homes are located appropriately according to the setback. So along with that change, we also wanted to add two definitions other than the excerpt in 2.03. One of them is just a simple definition for the foundation, any base material that provides frost protection for habitable space, as I said previously. And then we're going to define the foundation certificate, any base for habitable structure that requires a licensed surveyor to locate and produce a document verifying setbacks and location on said lot.
And if I remember, those went through Natalie, the town attorney also.
Yes, the town attorney has proofread this and endorsed this at this point.
Is there any public comment at this time? David, is there anyone online?
There is not.
Angela, did you receive anything on this one?
Nope.
Hearing none, then I will declare this public hearing closed. Okay. Next order of business is old business according to the agenda. And we will go back to the Heritage Company Coppersmith LLC on 545 Main Street in Waterboro. Aaron, take your seat. VJ and Mike, do you have anything to add?
No, my memo that was originally done on the project went right through everything, and of course, the only condition that I proposed at the time was that be conditioned on any written materials that are provided as part of their submission. The issue that you brought up tonight is really a civil matter between the applicant and the abutting landowner, and really does not have anything to do with this board, so.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for our applicant on this? Okay, I guess it's my turn then. I always have questions. Everybody rolls their eyes. First, I just wanted to clarify, is this the architectural plan said that the office building was a 5-unit structure, but you just said it was a 3-unit structure with 2 meeting rooms?
Yeah, so they have three office spaces and then two shared meeting rooms between those spaces is the intent of it.
Is the intent, so are you defining it as a 3-unit or a 5? You need it for findings of fact.
I guess I would go
With the architectural?
5-unit, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
gives a little bit more flexibility for the owner.
Sorry, I have to get to my page, I know I have them here. There's a small building shown to the east side of the parking lot on the office building. Is that existing or proposed? And what is it? Of the proposed offices, right up along the parking area.
Over here?
Yeah, that one.
That's existing. It's gonna stay there. I believe it's not 100% sure, but I believe it's a storage shed of some type.
I thought I remembered it was.
Yeah. I think the daycare probably uses it to just store some stuff.
And other quick verification, existing water supply to the buildings, they have their own, they're not gonna be using the new wells that are shown?
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird situation where the existing buildings are on public water. There actually is public water there, and then right now there's just not capacity for really any
For
new
the
customers.
Okay.
So they have to install these wells. If that were to change in the future sometime before this project, then I'm sure they'd love to get on the public water. But at this time, we're planning on 2 wells, 1 for each building.
And those are in the front of the buildings, not in the construction area?
The
The
existing.
public water mains, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, they're not in any construction area.
And then the lighting to the street light poles, are those from the building? And which building?
So there's going to be lighting on each of the buildings, some wall pack lights.
Yeah, I was just wondering where the existing, for the light poles that run up the side of the road, where does that originate from?
There's a overhead utility line that comes from the street and goes to a pole right about here. I'm not sure which building that it goes to and then comes off of. I'm not exactly sure on that.
Okay. You're gonna have, dig safe has to come out anyways.
Right, yeah, they'll have
Required by law.
to go out and check all that, locate everything.
And are the building, there's LP for one of the buildings, is there LP for either one of the new buildings?
I believe that's what they would be doing. Haven't located those on the site yet, but that would be something that they would identify at the time of construction. Because yeah, I would imagine they're gonna need to heat the buildings.
Well, at least the office building, I mean, the warehouse, that would be cool to the
Yeah.
employees, but. That's it for me. Oh, liquid propane, gas tanks. Not the daycare, the other building has existing. Anybody else have any questions? Anything further from staff? We do have one condition, which is they abide by everything that was said and reviewed during discussion.
Everything that they've submitted in writing
Right.
as part of the
And it has
application.
said during,
Correct.
throughout, yeah. So that's our one condition. I don't foresee any other ones, so. Everybody is all set. Does the board feel they can approve this for final approval?
Yes.
Right-of-way thing is not really for us, that's
No, it
civil.
is not.
So EJ has clarified that. May I have a motion to find this application approved for final?
I make a motion to approve the application as final.
Second?
Second?
That's Jim and Laura. All in favor? 6-0. You have final approval.
Awesome.
And good luck.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Old business, we have no more old business. We do have new business. And the new business is on something we had approved 2 years ago. And it has come back. And that is the contract zone. They're asking for an extension from Dave Alves. Lee J. or Mike or you. You're Dave Alves.
I like that better. I like that better.
You're okay.
You'll probably do a better job. No, I'm representing Dave Alves, I'm Steve Everett.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
And yes, he's requesting extension due to that he has not been able to present his project because of the lack of water that he was going to require via the water district. And hopefully that's going to change soon, and when it does, we'll start, you'll get to see this project a lot, I'm sure. But until that time, we do need an extension.
So your part in this process is basically a recommendation back to the select board to extend the contract. For those of you who weren't around when this happened, which I think is most of the board members.
I think it's everybody but me.
I was here.
I was
One of the
there.
first things, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
That's what,
So half of us were not.
So the developer, Dave Alves, entered into a negotiation at the time with the town to develop a project on the property, I can't remember the exact address or anything, but which exceeds the, thank you, map 5, lot 49, which exceeds the density allowance in that zone. And under the town's zoning ordinance, there is a contract zone allowance, which means that they can request certain things of the town, and the town can request certain things back of the developer as a negotiation. That agreement took several months, and the planning board inevitably makes a recommendation on that contract agreement, and then sends it to the select board, where the select board then further negotiates if they need to with Mr. Alves, and if they agree to the contract, then they sign off on it, and the development is off and running. As Mr. Everett mentioned, as we know that there's a water capacity issue, and part of the negotiation was that they extend water to this site to serve the development, and he certainly can't do that without having capacity available to him. So therefore, as I understand it, there's been discussions about possibly increasing that capacity at some point in the near future, and he needs that extension or recommendation from you folks to go to the select board to keep the project alive.
And that extension is 1 year by our
Correct.
ordinances.
Correct.
By the contract.
By the
And so
contract.
the rest of the board also understands, as part of that contract, once, if and when they get capacity available for water, that's just the beginning. You will then see a plan of the actual development project, and it'll go through development review just as any of your other projects do. This was just to say, yes, we're agreeing with you to allow higher densities. In return, you've got to give us X, Y, and Z. And then when he's ready to go, we will be reviewing a full plan, just like any other project.
The only thing I'll add is generally, for those that don't know, that project is down by the health center.
Yes, thank you. Just beyond the entrance to the health center is the entrance to this property.
There's
Yes.
excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Certain.
There's an old farm that I think is gonna be tore down. That's the exact location of the entrance.
Yes.
It's right beside it, between that and the farmer's daughter, basically. And in speaking with Mr. Alves, rather, when he requested this extension for 1 year, he had made some comment that he was also working with the water district to put some test wells on his property as well. So that may, in fact, if they bode well in that particular circumstance, then that may solve some of the issue. That's it seems that the water capacity is a pretty significant issue here in Waterboro. It's held up a few projects at this point. Thank you.
Yes, Dennis?
The board has met with the Water District trustees, and they have resolved the problem on Strummer Brook Road with their wells there. I'm not sure that it's back to full strength, but it's pulling more water than it was. And they're seeking a grant to install, or at least look for another water source. So I'm not sure where that leads them, but that's the current.
Isn't there also an issue with additional storage?
Well,
Because of the existing tank?
the water tower, or the standby South Waterboro holds 330,000 gallons of water. It has never been maintained since the day that it was built.
90s.
So they were looking to also secure a site where they could create an additional tank, so to speak, So when they take that down, it's probably a 3, 4, 5 month process to redo the inside of the tank. But, so, I mean, our expressed opinion from the Board of Selectmen to the Water District was, you're now starting to have an impact on the economic development of the community. I'm not sure that they see that way. They're looking to take care of their current customers, actually. But there's other folks ready to plug the holes in, right?
And there seems like the test wells, there might be other options also.
There are several. Yeah. There are several different lots that I'm aware of that they're putting test wells in. There's another one, it's already in the wellhead protection district. It's another property owner off in 202.
So anyway, the purpose of this is hopefully the select board will approve the extension of the contract to keep the project alive as long as it can until this issue gets resolved.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the board? May I have a motion to provide a recommendation to the select board that we are in agreement with the 1-year extension for this contract zoning?
Do I need to recuse myself since I was on the public hearing side of this 2 years ago?
I would say that.
I would.
Okay,
Yes.
I will pass.
Yes.
So Stacy will not be voting on this. Again, may I have a motion to recommend this to the select board, that they extend the contract?
I motion for the recommendation to the selectmen board.
I have a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? 5-1 is recuse. Extension of it. So we'll go to the select board for their consideration. There is no more new business. Do we have any communications? No communications. Is there any miscellaneous? I actually have a miscellaneous item. I found my notes from the site walk, and if you would like to, I'll give them to you after the meeting, and then we can make those for the record. And the planning board, the ones that were there, can review it and see if how
I was
accurate
just
I
a
was.
couple minutes late, Lori. You don't have to signal me out.
Public hearing on old business.
I was pulling in and you were leaving.
that.
You were all laughing at me pulling out. I'm like, okay.
I feel it was just approved for the conditions.
It was a little.
So I'll give those to you. Any other miscellaneous? Seeing none. Last thing on the agenda is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Jim, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Rick? All in favor? 6-0. And at 7:05, we are adjourned.